Yeah,
like the term.
I mean, it means things are in balance.
Correct, yeah. So it's like whatever your current system state is ideally homeostatic, right? So like temperature regulation, you know, your oxygen intake, blood pressure, oxygen saturation in your blood, all of those things are kind of like working as a unit, right? So our current state, we'll call it like our homeostatic bubble is your set state, right? And then the interesting thing that I've found over the years, kind of like talking to people and watching people and just kind of understanding humans and their physiology and, you know, their pain and all the other interesting factors that go with it, is like some people are in homeostasis in pain, right? That's their normal set condition, is pain, right? So like for you sitting here, you're not in pain, right? You're very fortunate. Other people are in pain when they're sleeping. They're in pain when they're sitting. So their body state is so unstable that they're in pain not doing things, which is a very big issue, right? And so like for certain people like that, we have to first work on getting their body stable enough to not be in pain doing nothing. Whoa, right? That's crazy, right? So in your situation, you're in homeostasis, you're not doing anything, and you're pretty happy, right? Yeah. So then we start talking about allostasis and your allostatic threshold and your allostatic load. And so with allostasis, it's the ability for your body to take an excursion, which is, let's just use gardening for you as an example. So it's a stress excursion, right? You get ready, you get out there in the garden, and you start doing your gardening, right? And so you have this outer bubble, and we'll call this, that's a pretty good circle.
That's amazing, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we'll call this your like allostatic bubble or your threshold, right?
Okay.
And so you do your gardening and you take this excursion and you do gardening, right? And let's say you do gardening for 10 minutes, okay? You do your 10 minutes of gardening and then you stop gardening and you return back to homeostasis, and we would say you're probably still pretty happy. 10 minutes of gardening, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so then we do 2 hours of gardening. How does your body feel after that? How do your feet feel after that?
It depends on what it is, but yesterday's a good example.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was helping with some pruning. So I'm moving around a lot.
Yep.
I'm stretching, I'm doing all kinds of different movements.
Yep.
And that feels better
Good.
than being in, trying to do this weeding down here and in one place, like that.
So I love that. So let's use weeding then, because this will help us to understand the excursion and the return back home, right? So I love this, right? So you did 1.5 to 2 hours of stretching and moving and being dynamic.
Yeah.
It's nurturing stimulus for your body. We didn't cross this threshold, this allostatic threshold. We're playing in this happy zone that your body can tolerate the stresses of what you're doing. It's actually nourishing for your body. You return home, you're happy, maybe even happier, right?
Yes.
And you're like, I did some gardening, right? Hungry and happy. So now let's say you did 3 hours of weeding. Okay, then what happens?
I feel like a fool because that's way too much.
Fair. And then what hurts?
So it's going to be my foot more than anything.
Your foot, okay.
The plantar fasciitis or bone spur, whatever it is, kicks in big time. And then I'll have, like, a lot of times, both calves will feel tight. Maybe a little something with my fingers, you know, not severe. And that's pretty much it.
Cool. Okay, so this is a perfect example. So, and then how long does that last for?
Well, it depends on if I address it, like, you know, do a little massage, put my feet up,
Yep.
you know, do some stretching,
Yeah,
things like
so
that.
maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes,
Yeah, could even
maybe
be less.
like 15
you know.
to 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's say that, yeah.
Okay. So, and then, you know, you do some treatment on yourself and then you're back to being happy again, right? So,
Yeah, most often.
most often.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening here is we do this three, which I know this is crazy, I'm just using an example. We do this 3 hours of weeding, right? And so what happens is you take this excursion and you blow through your threshold. Now, you blow through your threshold, you return home, and you're a little unhappy for a little while, right?
Yeah.
And so in the situation of what you're doing, it's not impacting you enough to create such a negative stimulus that it shrinks your bubble because your body is able to return to a pretty normalized state of homeostasis and no pain. There are situations where you cross this threshold and your body has such an adverse reaction to it that you return home and your body is like, the hell with that, I don't ever want to do that again. Like,
And that is what was happening a few months ago.
there you go.
Yeah.
But you've been working on.
But I learned.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So in that situation a couple months ago, what ends up happening is your body goes, we talked about the hot pan, right? The hot pan, we didn't talk about the hot pan, no? So like the hot pan theory is like, you touch a hot pan, right? And you burn your hand, and you're like, oh, I don't want to touch that hot pan again, right? And so the next time you go look at that hot pan, the next time you look at a pan in general, like that cast iron skillet, you're like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that the stove's off, put your hand above the pan, make sure it's not hot. You're doing all of these things to make sure you're not gonna burn your hand again, right?
Right.
And so what ends up happening is you start developing these systems to kind of shrink your capacity. You don't just walk up to the pan and grab it, right? And so your body has all these check-ins now.
Yeah.
Ooh, am I okay? Am I gonna be all right doing this?
Right.
Should I do this? Should I be here? Should I not get down as quickly? Should I not stay down as long?
Yeah.
All these things start kicking in, so your brain starts creating these protection mechanisms.
Yeah.
And so it starts closing this ring down.
Yeah.
And so what happens as we overstimulate the system, we start shrinking the bubble to kind of try and avoid overstressing the system.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is the allostatic excursion. And if we overstress or surpass the threshold of our system's tolerance capacity, then we continue returning home unhappy and it shrinks this thing down. Okay? So that's what allostatic load is, which is what we just calculated, which is how well can your body tolerate stress. And so what we look at is the cumulative stressors over the span of your life and your current state and your injuries and your pain responses and all these things to help us determine how much stress we can impart on your system to try and create positive adaptation and not blow the fuse or overload the system by doing too much to it. And so this is why this process is so cool, is because we're really trying to calculate how much stress to put on your body to create positive adaptations and improve the bubble, because that's what we're trying to do, is improve your bubble to reduce pain and make you more dynamic and allow you to do more fun stuff. So when we calculate this allostatic load, we get this idea of how much we can do with your body, and then what we do once we get going here is start imparting novel stimulus on your system to push you right up to the edge of your threshold. And this is this idea of like, what's the minimum amount of stimulus we can do to your body to create maximum positive adaptation. And that's what this whole treatment process looks like, is bump up to the edge here, stimulate, do stuff, exercise, move, train, whatever it might be. And then you get all this nourishing stimulus and you return home and you're like, man, that was great. I felt amazing. I trust my body more. My body didn't have any adverse reactions. I feel really good. And then what happens?
Then
that bubble expands a little bit, and you're like, I think I want to try gardening a little longer, or like I can get down without being concerned. And so your system begins adapting, and so then we have this new threshold, and then we reevaluate, and we go, well, we just push that ring, we do this reevaluation, and now your bubble's bigger. And then we go, okay, what's next? What's the next thing we want to do to impart some more stimulus? But because your body has a higher threshold capacity, we can do more and stimulate your system more. And then it pushes again. And so what we're doing is constantly trying to push this bubble by imparting appropriate stimulus. And this is the problem with a lot of processes, and like going to like a traditional trainer, is you go into this training situation, they're like, let's just do all this stuff and see what happens. And you might go home and be like, oh my gosh, what did I just do in there today, right? And that shrinks your bubble. So you might be like people frequently overtrain somebody and stress somebody so much that their body breaks down again. And so we have this very calculated approach where we're constantly trying to push right up to your limit, but not through it, which then pushes your allostatic bubble out, and gives you more capacity.
So genius.
It's a
I took
great
care
system.
of a lot of people who they're like in their 80s.
Yeah.
And they're going to physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And they do exactly what you said. They push them too far.
Yep.
They come home, they're just really suffering.
Yep.
And then they can't even do any of the exercises. They don't
so
want
smoked.
to.
Exactly.
Motivation is
Yeah.
gone.
Because they're not feeling the
Because
nourishing
it's
properties
not,
of it.
Focused with intention.
There you go. Nice. Trademark, let's go. Soundbite. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it's an amazing diagnostic and assessment system and approach to bolstering the system. And so this is our whole thought process around imparting stress and stimulus on the body. And it starts with that calculation that we did, so that we know when we do this range of motion assessment, what are our parameters? What is our safety walls of doing this stuff with you to not blow the fuse, not overload your system? And we consider this constantly throughout the assessment, throughout any kind of intervention and treatment processes, any of the exercise, any of the phase 2 machine training that we do, gravity, all these things. We're always constantly factoring in allostasis, your stress threshold, and the stimulus that we're trying to put on your body to create that positive adaptation. So there it is. But this is the whole idea right here.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
Okay.
Do you normally explain all that
Yes.
to people?
Yes. Yeah.
That's why it's recorded, so I can
Explain it to people.
So you'll be able to